Lakers, the Suns, they square off in Game 2 of our ABC doubleheader, and they are each battling to get out of the play-in. But when you take a look at all of this, what also stands out is for the Suns, their strength of schedule. They have the single most difficult remaining schedule in the entire NBA. So we need to turn to the mayor of Scottsdale over here, Mr. Michael Wilbon, because looking at their last 12 games of the season in particular, is there a path for them to get out of the play-in?
Malika, they look like a play-in team right now, the Suns do. I mean, these games that they're losing, most recently to Houston, I mean, they are still lacking. They are still flawed in the ways we've seen all season. Yeah, Bradley Beal's been out. But is that going to be a panacea when they get Bradley Beal back? Are they going to have Kevin Durant and Booker back when Beal is back? Mm-hmm. So I know it's been a limited size, and they look great offensively when they have those three guys. Yep. Why, with all the injuries the Suns have had the last couple of years, do we presume they're going to have those three? And just offensively, we know by now, we ought to know, that in the playoffs, that alone isn't going to work. And I don't know if it's going to solve what ails the Suns. But that schedule you and I looked at last night, and the last 10 games of it, I mean, you go 4-6 in that, you could have played really, really well, and that's not going to be good enough in the Western Conference down the stretch.
But when you look at the Suns and the Lakers, and they could be lurking potentially in that play-in, those lower seeds, Stephen A., should that scare some of those top four teams that are essentially locked in the Timberwolves, OKC, the Clippers, and the Nuggets?
Well, it should scare them from the standpoint of their experience, that their championship test, that there's a championship pedigree with all of those teams that's going to be in the play-in. But remember, those young thoroughbreds, this is who they want. They want those guys. They want to knock them off because that's going to be their claim to fame. Minnesota, Oklahoma City, they ain't fearing the Lakers or the Phoenix Suns. Please, they're like, bring them on. Let's roll. That's number one. Number two, this is the thing that we got to pay attention to when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. They're the worst team in the fourth quarter in the NBA. In the fourth quarter, they're the worst team in the NBA. I'm not talking about Kevin Durant, who's shooting 52% from the field, 44% from three-point range in the fourth quarter. Everybody else, they're non-existent. Right now, Big Perk, three-point shooting in the fourth quarter, second worst in the NBA. Field goal percentage shooting in the fourth quarter, third worst in the NBA. And they're tied with the Golden State Warriors for blowing 10-point leads. I'm sorry, they've blown a league 10 times this season in the fourth quarter. This is the Phoenix Suns that we're talking about here. And so we could bring up Beal and Booker and Kevin Durant not playing together necessarily because they've only played, about 22 of the 57 games together. I get that part. But somebody's going to have to explain to me how you can justify blowing fourth quarter leads and you can justify looking so horrid in the fourth quarter, particularly when you have somebody in Kevin Durant who's a superstar who is showing up in the fourth quarter. Why are the Suns looking so bad?
Well, I explained it to you. Right now, they have no navigation. I mean, they're riding down a busy highway with a paper bag over their head. They don't know which way to go. And it goes on the part of the leadership. And when I think about leadership, I think about the interview, by the way, great interview, Malika, that you did with Kevin Durant. And he was talking about, he leads. Just because he don't lead like we want him to lead, that don't make him not a leader. Well, sometimes you have to get uncomfortable. And to be honest with you, the Phoenix Suns haven't had a leader since Chris Paul left. You need that guy in the locker room. You need that guy that's going to control both sides of the floor in the fourth quarter so that you don't have these drop-offs. So sometimes you have to get uncomfortable.
And on the court, by the way, they're not organized.
I get you. They're not organized.
Disorganized
and Frank Vogel, if you're listening, that's absolutely positively inexcusable. You won a championship as a coach. You've been to several conference finals series. You know how to coach. Why the hell does that do?
Stephen A., it's not coaching.
It's got to be to some degree.
Personnel. They don't have the guy to organize the team. That's what Perk's talking about. They don't have it.
So you're trying to tell me the coach has nothing to do with that?
He can't go to the bullpen. Just because you're a Hall of Fame player doesn't mean that's your skill. The skill of organizing a team, particularly with the game on the line, it doesn't come with everybody.
I'm not absolving the players, but what I'm saying is this, Wilbon. If you the coach, damn it, you ain't playing, what the hell are you doing? If the team looks disorganized, why the hell am I supposed to look at just the players? You have a job.
Where are they going to get the organization from? I want you to answer that for me.
I don't know the answer to that question. I really wish I did. But let me say this to you. You got to improve the roster, but at the end of the day, the coach got to do something. And as KP pointed out, when you're talking about them in terms of what their level of production is, all I'm saying to you is this. I'm looking at the players, and he talked about discomfort. The greatest success the Phoenix Suns have ever had was with Barkley and obviously with CP3. Two players that did not mind making folks uncomfortable. All right, so the fact that you've got folks there that want to be comfortable is problematic.
Yes, it's one of the things. But who is going to be in that role? Who's going to be in that role? And I'm talking about on the court. You can see these meltdowns in the fourth quarter. when they don't have that floor general, that director, that GPS, they're not, Stephen A., Frank Vogel is not going to call on somebody and say, you do this. No. They don't have that.
Well, he need to. That's my point. See, that's what I'm saying to you. I understand what your point is. My point is, you're the coach. You ain't out there playing. What the hell is your job? That is your job. If you can't do that, then somebody else needs to be coaching the team.
He's not out there playing in the fourth quarter. They don't have that guy.